हेलो एवरीवन। तो आज हम लोग एक शहर के बारे में बात करेंगे जिसका नाम है एल डोराडो। चैप्टर 1 इंट्रोडक्शन। So, El Dorado is a legendary and mythical city that was believed to be located in the unexplored regions of the Americas, particularly in South America during the Age of Exploration. The name El Dorado is Spanish for the golden one or the gilded one. Okay, so the name El Hombre Dorado, the Golden Man, or El Rey Dorado, the Golden King, was the term used by the Spanish in the 16th century to describe a mythical tribe chief named Zipa, or the king of the Muisca people, and indigenous people of the Altiplano people, who belonged from Colombia, who was an initiation rite, covered himself with gold dust and submerged in Lake Guatavita. Now the Zipa, the mythical tribal chief of the native Muisca people, was said to cover his body in golden dust and from his raft offer treasures to the Guatavita goddess in the middle of the sacred Lake Guatavita. This old Muisca tradition became the origin of the legend of El Dorado. Now, the second location for El Dorado was inferred from rumors, which inspired several unsuccessful expeditions in the late 1500s in search of a city called Manoa on the shores of Lake Parima. Two of the most famous of these expeditions were led by Sir Walter Raleigh in pursuit of the legend. Spanish conquistadors and numerous others searched what is today Colombia, Venezuela, and parts of Guyana and northern Brazil. By the beginning of the 19th century, most people dismissed the existence of this city as a myth. Chapter 2 Legend of El Dorado. The legend of the seven cities of gold led to Francisco Vasquez de Coronado's expedition of 1540 across the New Mexico territory. This became mixed with the stories of El Dorado, which was sometimes said to be one of the seven cities. Several literary works have used the name in their titles, sometimes of El Dorado and other times as El Dorado. Chapter 3 Geographical Clues and Historical Sources. Gonzalo Jimenez de Quesada was one of the most prominent Spanish conquistadors in the quest for El Dorado. In 1536, he led an expedition that ultimately led to the discovery of the Muisca civilization in present-day Colombia. Although Quesada found great riches including gold, he did not encounter the fabled city of El Dorado itself. The English explorer Sir Walter Raleigh embarked on two expeditions in search of El Dorado in the late 16th century. His expeditions took him to present-day Guyana and Venezuela. While Raleigh's journeys yielded no definite evidence of El Dorado, he popularized the legend in Europe through his accounts and writings. During his second trip in 1617, he sent his son Walter Raleigh with an expedition up the Orinoco River, but Walter Raleigh, then an old man, stayed behind at a base camp on the island of Trinidad. The expedition was a disaster and Walter Raleigh, his son, was killed in a battle with the Spaniards. Eric Klingelhofer, an archaeologist at Mercer University in Macon, Georgia, is trying to find the site or Raleigh's base camp at Trinidad. He says Walter Raleigh was furious at the survivor who informed him of Watt's death and accused the survivor of letting his son be killed. The man goes into his cabin on the ship and kills himself, quoted, says Klingelhofer. Chapter 4, Gold in Pre-Columbian Civilization. Muisca civilization, Colombia. The Muisca people who inhabited the central Andean highlands of present-day Colombia had a deep reverence for gold. They considered gold to be the sacred and associated it with the sun god. Gold was used in elaborate rituals, and the Muisca ruler would perform an annual ceremony called El Dorado, where he was covered in gold dust and offerings were made to the gods in sacred lake. The Muisca lived in sacred settlements spread across the valleys of the high Andean plains in the east of modern-day Colombia. Important annual ceremonies related to religion, agriculture, and the ruling elite helped unite these various communities. We know that such ceremonies involve large number of participants and included singing, incense burning, and music from trumpets, drums, rattles, buns, and accordions, bulbous ceramic flutes. The communities were also linked by trade, and there was even a movement of skilled craftsmen, especially goldsmiths, between Muisca cities. Inca civilization, Peru. The Inca civilization, known for its vast empire in the Andean region, considered gold as the sweat of the sun and silver as the tears of the moon. Gold had religious, political, and economic significance. The Inca emperor, or Sapa Inca, was adorned with gold ornaments, and gold was used in the construction of temples and palaces. The famous Temple of the Sun, Coricancha, in Cusco, was adorned with gold and considered the most sacred site in the empire. Chapter 5, Modern Day Expeditions and Discoveries. So, where is this lost city of gold? In 1849 poem El Dorado, writer Edgar Allan Poe offers an airy and eloquent suggestion: over the mountains of the moon, down the valley of the shadow, ride boldly, ride, if you seek for El Dorado. In Frehley's book The Conquest and Discovery of the New Kingdom of Granada, published in 1636, he tells us that when a leader died within Muisca society, the process of succession for the chosen golden one would unfold. The selected new leader of the community, commonly the nephew of the previous chief, would go through a long initiation process, culminating in the final act of paddling out on a raft on a sacred lake such as Lake Guatavita in central Colombia. Surrounded by the four highest priests adorned with feathers, gold crowns, and body ornaments, the leader, naked but for a covering of gold dust, will set out to make an offering of gold objects, emeralds, and other precious objects for the gods by throwing them into the lake. The shores of the circular lake were filled with richly adorned spectators playing musical instruments and burning fires that almost blocked out the daylight from this crucible-like lake basin. The raft itself had four burning fires on it, throwing up plumes of incense into the sky. When at the very center of the priest would raise a flag to draw silence from the crowd. This moment would mark the point at which the crowd would commit allegiance to the new leader by shouting their approval from the lake shore. Within Muisca society, gold, or the more specifically an alloy of gold, silver, and copper called tumbaga, was highly sought after, not for its material value but for its spiritual power, its connection to the deities, and its ability to bring balance and harmony within Muisca society. As Muisca descended, Enrique Gonzalez expressed, gold does not symbolize prosperity to his people. For the Muisca of today, just as for our ancestors, gold is nothing more than an offering. Gold does not represent wealth to us. Chapter 6, Debunking the Myth. Debunking the myth of El Dorado has been a subject of historical and scientific scrutiny. While the legend of a magnificent golden city has captivated imagination for centuries, many researchers and experts have examined the evidence and proposed alternative explanation. Here are some key perspectives in debunking the El Dorado myth. Origin of the myth. Historical research suggests that the myth of El Dorado may have originated from various sources, including the Muisca ritual of the El Dorado ceremony mentioned earlier. This ceremony involved a new ruler being covered in gold dust and offerings made to sacred lakes. Over time, exaggerated accounts and the allure of wealth likely transformed this ritualistic event into a myth mythical city of gold. Symbolic interpretations. Many scholars argue that El Dorado is not a literal city, but rather a symbol representing a quest for wealth, power, or utopia. Geographical explanation. Some researchers propose that the search for El Dorado was based on misinterpretation or mistranslation of indigenous accounts. Explorers and conquistadors unfamiliar with the local languages may have misunderstood or distorted information about rich regions, such as the abundance of gold in various pre-Columbian cultures. The miscommunication could have fueled their belief in a mythical city of gold. Lack of physical evidence. Despite numerous expeditions and extensive exploration effort, no definite proof had been found of this city. The absence of substantial archaeological remains or concrete historical records related to a specific day of vast wealth has led skeptics to question the validity of the legend. Chapter 7. Conclusion. In conclusion, the legend of El Dorado, the mythical city of gold, has captured the imagination of people for centuries. The allure of untold riches, power, and paradise has inspired numerous expeditions and quests to uncover its whereabouts. However, the historical and scientific perspective surrounding El Dorado suggests that it may be more a symbol than a tangible city. Debunking the myth of El Dorado has been a subject of scholarly investigation. These efforts have shed light on the origin of the myth, suggesting it may have arisen from cultural rituals, exaggerated accounts, and misinterpretation. The symbolic interpretation of El Dorado emphasizes its representation of human desires and the pursuit of an unattainable ideal. While ancient civilizations in the Americas certainly held gold in high regard and used it for religious and ornamental purposes, the existence of a specific city of El Dorado remains unverified. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.